It's Conor here in Dublin this week. Was at the rugby watching Ireland play Argentina on Saturday and had the privilege of teaching at Trinity and at UCD Smurfit Business Schools over this week in Dublin.
Score now, Ireland 25, Argentina 7.
So, Trinity, Neill, alma mater. Who's this man behind you?
Summit. Yeah.
Provost.
There's a story that there's a man dressed in beautiful robes and he's marching down towards the king's palace. And at the side of the street, he sees a wise man who's eating lentils. He approaches him and he says, "Wise man, if you would learn to please the king, you would not need to eat lentils." And the wise man looks up and says, "And if you would learn to eat lentils, you would not need to please the king." There's a question I was asked many years ago, and it went, what's the best thing you could spend 10 euros on in order to give yourself an hour of happiness? What's the best thing you spend 100 euros on to spend an hour of happiness? 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. And it was looking at what would you spend it on and how happy would it make you feel? And if you reflect on this question now, if you had an hour and you had 10 euros, what would you spend it on to have an hour of happiness? If you had 100 euros, what would you spend it on to give yourself an hour? If you had 1,000 euros, if you had 10,000 euros. And what struck me when I did this exercise is what I would get in terms of happiness if I really spent the money wisely would be about the same over an hour. I think for me, if I was to spend 10 euros, it would be to have some food with some friends. When I look at what I would spend each of the multiples of 10 on, sometimes I don't think I would get a multiple of 10 times more joy, more happiness, more contentment for that extra spend. And this reflection that if you can learn to eat lentils, you can be happy with little. You can learn to say no to some of the things that really do detract from happiness.
Look like, yeah.